major stars here tonight, I've got to tell you. And talk about being spoiled for choice. You know, here in Australia, ABBA had an incredible 17 top 10 singles with 6 number ones. And did you know that 2006 actually marks the 30th anniversary of their first visit to our shores?
Yes, and although the band members went their separate ways in 1982, their legacy lives on. ABBA's albums continue to sell more than 370 million copies worldwide, bettered only by the Beatles and Elvis.
That is quite a record.
And the songwriting ability of Benny and Björn was just phenomenal.
You are the dancing queen.
The impact of seeing two very attractive girls singing very catchy songs on stage and the wholesome sort of image they had, with the two men being in relationships with the two women, I think that at the time was also appealing to a lot of people who liked that sort of image.
When you come to the party, listen to the guys, they got the look in their eyes.
It's unique, that blend between the two girls. And the fact that the two of us should meet them without thinking of forming a group or anything, years before, not knowing that, and finding out, and then it becomes what it became. That is magic, isn't it?
You know, some bands last for 5 minutes, some bands have one hit. They had like 40 hits or something like that.
It was just unbelievable. I mean, every adjective you could think to describe how enormous it was when they were here couldn't describe how big it was.
As time went by, everybody wanted to get them back together. I remember hearing one story that they'd been offered something like $2 billion to reform and do a world tour, and they actually knocked it back.
Because it was a serious offer and it was to be taken serious. And in the end we decided, no, it's not worth it.
There's no doubt, I mean, their success was phenomenal, you know, probably second only to the Beatles, I guess.
It was just something out of this world. I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds of tours in the meantime, and there's been nothing as big as the ABBA phenomenon.
$2 billion to get back together, and they said it wasn't worth it.
Yes, well, welcome back to ABBA Mania, coming to you from the Palms at Crown. We're going back to the early days now. Before they became a pop juggernaut, Benny, Björn, Agneta and Frida were all experienced performers in their own right.
They were indeed. Benny played piano in a 60s Swedish pop group called the Hepstars, which sold more records in Sweden than the Beatles, believe it or not. Björn, meantime, had formed a folk group called the Hootenanny Singers.
And Agneta had already scored a #1 hit in Sweden at just 17. And Frida was also an accomplished singer who had tried out as a solo performer for Eurovision, but finished 4th in the Swedish heats.
And speaking of Eurovision, Bec, here is a quick quiz for you. What do these performers have in common? Cicliola Cinquetti, the Call Me Group, and Olivia Newton-John. Well, let me tell you, they were all Eurovision Song Competition entrants for 1974, and they all lost to ABBA.
Fair enough. Most of ABBA's songs came together like this. Music first, lyrics second. In the studio, Agneta and Frida took most of the vocal duties, but there were occasions when the fellas took centre stage.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania, coming to you from the Palms at Crown. Are we having fun tonight or what? Huh? Indeed we are. Now, even the most ardent ABBA fan will have to admit that despite those catchy melodies and well-crafted pop songs, ABBA's lyrics weren't always their strong suit. I mean, take Fernando. Please, take Fernando. I'm no expert in grammar, but how about the line, "Since many days I have not seen a rifle in your hand"?
Yeah,
huh?
well, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, right.
Okay, no, but...
Now, a large part of ABBA's global success in the early days can be attributed to their use of the promotional film clip. Now, sure, some of the videos look a bit primitive by today's standards. In fact, this one looks like a cut-price Brady Bunch, but it allowed ABBA fans to keep in touch with their heroes when the band wasn't touring.
Well, when ABBA got to Australia, they were just the hottest ticket in town. I mean, everything was ABBA, from kids to grandparents. Everyone loved the band. They'd struck a chord there. There was merchandise everywhere. ABBA t-shirts, ABBA balloons, ABBA miniskirts, ABBA everything.
The biggest request that ABBA had was for us to have our own aircraft, which we laid on a Boeing 727, which Ansett arranged for us, and we had painted with emblazoned ABBA on the side, and we needed that just from a security point of view to move everyone around.
Björn, what do you think of the reception you're getting in Australia?
It's been fantastic so far. We really enjoy every second of it.
You can't be really sure why Australia embraced ABBA. It must have been because the songs were songs that were the sort of tunes that were popular at the time. This is 1975 and 1976.
When I first came to Australia, we were really excited about seeing them, but we sort of didn't really know which one was which. It was quite crazy. And they were just like excited kids. I mean, as soon as they got here, they wanted to see kangaroos and flora and fauna. The girls looked fantastic. They were all excited, but they did actually have to introduce themselves to us.
First, I suppose you would like to meet the rest of ABBA, and here they are.
Hello, I'm Agneta.
Hello, I'm Frida.
And I'm Benny.
There's been albums released by different artists doing covers of ABBA songs, and like credible artists that have had long careers themselves, have come out publicly and said how much they like the music of ABBA. So the longevity has got to be the quality of the song.
It's incredible actually that nearly 30 years on we would actually have a show based on ABBA's music theatrically touring after the success of ABBA as a concert act. Not many bands have done that.
Well, thank you very much for coming with us here down under to Australia. We hope you've enjoyed yourself, because we sure did. Goodbye and thank you. Bye.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania. Well, as we've just seen, ABBA's tour of Australia in 1977 sparked scenes of hysteria not witnessed since the Beatles toured in 1964.
Yeah, shows sold out across the country and tickets weren't cheap at $12. And ABBA merchandise was everywhere. In Melbourne, unofficial memorabilia even included the hotel bedsheets upon which the band members had slept.
Yuck.
And they recorded a TV special for Channel 9 called ABBA Down Under. And when it went to air, it became the highest rating show ever on Australian television, even beating the moon landing. You remember that, don't you, Richard?
Remember the moon landing? I remember when they discovered the thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a long time ago. Now, it's well known that ABBA was a band made up of two married couples. What were they thinking? Benny and Frida and Björn and Agneta. However, unlike the music they produced, their marriages would not last forever.
Yes, the pain of a broken heart is clearly reflected in the lyrics of this next song, The Winner Takes It All. And the story goes that Björn cracked open a bottle of whiskey and penned the words in a little over an hour. And despite it being a reminder of the dark times, Agneta has since called it the best of all ABBA songs.
I reckon it's my favourite too.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania, coming to you from the Palms at Crown. That, of course, was Mamma Mia, one of the group's signature songs and also one of the most popular in Australia, spending an unbelievable 2.5 months at #1 in 1975.
1975, what a great year that was. It was long before you were born.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania. Now, for 15 incredible weeks in 1976, the last thing every Sunday night on Countdown was this famous film clip of our four heroes sitting around a campfire under the stars.
They had quite a run with that song. ABBA were finally knocked from the #1 spot by Sherbet with their hit song, wonderful song, How's That? But by then, Fernando had firmly entrenched itself as pure ABBA gold.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania, coming to you from the Palms at Crown. You know, ABBA receives hundreds of requests each year from artists who want to sample the band's music, but Björn and co are very protective of their back catalogue. Although last year they agreed to let Madonna use the melody from one of ABBA's biggest hits for her song, Hung Up.
That song was, of course, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme.
Now, here's an interesting bit of trivia about tonight's next song from the Swedish hit machine. SOS is the only song ever to go to #1 anywhere in the world where both the song title, SOS, and the artist's name, ABBA, are palindromes. That is, the names read both the same backwards and forwards.
Welcome back to ABBA Mania. And Bec, there's just one very important part of ABBA that we haven't mentioned yet. I'm talking about the band's fashion sense. And I've got just one question I'd like to ask you, Bec Hewitt. What were they thinking?
What's wrong with satin jumpsuits and cat kimonos, fur coats, leopard skin jackets, silver capes and velvet bodysuits and jumpers? What's wrong
I rest my case.
The ABBA look is something kind of definitive of that time. I call it foreign exchange chic, crossed with Eurovision Song Contest, some with a large gauge needle and crochet hook and crochet wool. It's true.
A lot of people would think that ABBA was naive in the way they dressed, but I think their music and the way they kind of staged what they were and became so popular, they obviously understood the market in which they were working in. I think they were very, very professional and very smart.
I think ABBA's fashion sense, I wouldn't say they were style makers, but because they were such a massive influential band, whatever they wore in those early video clips really influenced the kids at the time. So, I mean, they were around for quite a long time, so they went through the real first glam rock, shiny satins, big boots, wedges. Then she had the berets and the hot pants, and so they obviously influenced what kids wore, although they were not ever style makers. That's what was going on at the time.
Let me explain to you what a white jumpsuit is. It's an all-in-one. It's like a pit suit. It's like something that you'd wear at in the pit if you're doing like the Le Mans 500. But in this instance, it's white, it's light cotton, and it has a tie at the knee. And usually women wear it, but in this case with ABBA, where they blurred the lines of sexuality and stuff, the boys wore it as well. In fact, I think the boys were wearing most of the women's outfits most of the time because there was a lot of very tight camel toe satin being worn.
Favourite ABBA outfit? Well, there were so many beauties to choose from, weren't there? But I think as a kid, because I was a kid at the time, I mostly remember the knee-high boots with the little, they had like long t-shirts belted, and there was a lot of leg and a lot of boot. And I think those blue satin jumpsuits with the crease crutches were always a rip-off.
The ABBA fashion sense was very, as stage production, very much over the top. And in today's term, it looks really rather gauche, but at that time it was absolutely right.
ABBA was renowned for like big cable knit jumpers, that sort of, but it wasn't just cable knit jumpers. They had, I think there was cable knit leggings. I think I saw Benny with a cable knit floppy kind of beret, and everything was soft focus videos, and everyone's hair was soft, because remember, there were no hair product existed then. It was just big and fluffy. So I think the whole sort of alpaca angora thing, they're also walking through fields with soft focus. Yeah, too much knit.
Is it over? Crochet, tea cozies, satin, hot pants, I mean, please. Huh.
Yes, okay, Richard. Well, when they weren't turning the fashion world upside down, ABBA was writing songs that charted in dozens of countries around the world.
They sang songs about Napoleon and Waterloo, about Mexican revolutionaries and Fernando, and even one with an Aussie flavour titled Bang a Boomerang. That's right, bang. Well, Sweden has always been proud of their homegrown pop stars, as we are. And why wouldn't it be? In 1982, ABBA picked Volvo as the country's biggest export earner. Twice, the group has been honoured with their own stamp, and they even performed at a Swedish royal wedding. How about that?
Well, ABBA called it a day in 1982. As we were saying, that's before I was born. But since then, each member has remained active in the music business.
Yep, Benny and Björn have had the greatest post-ABBA success with the musicals Chess and, of course, Mamma Mia.
Yes, and Frida was the first member of ABBA to have a solo hit in 1982 with the Phil Collins-produced Something's Going On. And Agneta made 3 solo albums in the 80s and 2 years ago released a comeback album called My Colouring Book.
The only bad news for all us ABBA maniacs, a comeback, unfortunately, is unlikely. I'll tell you what, if I was managing them, we would have taken the $2 billion, don't worry about that. But as we've seen tonight, the music of ABBA will live on forever. That is almost it from ABBA Mania. We want to say a huge thank you to all tonight's Bennies and Bjorns, Fridas and Agnetas for sharing their love of ABBA with us.
Yes, we really hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.